I know I have a way to make it work. It's just that I was going to try to do it this other way, and it isn't going to allow me to do that. I don't think so. Anyway, hey, we've got folks coming in, I bet, because we did hit that live button. Strangely enough, I think we just see the one on locals right now. So it's probably just taking a little bit for other people to connect. Seeing a few more now coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Come on in. And anyway, while we're letting people into the room, we're going to just solve a quick audio thing. So hang tight. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play something. You can tell me if you hear it, Stephen. Try this. Oh, come on. And it's going to play games with me.
I haven't heard anything yet, but I'll tell you.
Yeah. You know, you should have been hearing some radio stuff playing. And now it's not going to behave.
I do see in the bottom corner it says enable output audio, but that may not be the...
Yeah, that would be for if it was going to be going through this computer here, but I don't think it's going to. I might stop sharing this and then reshare and see if it behaves better, but I don't think it will. Strangely enough, Rumble Studio is acting differently, and I notice every time that we use it that there's always at least a little something different about it. Last week, I was able to get it to allow me to share a tab and get audio with that tab. Now it's giving me the finger. It's basically saying, screw you. Yeah. Will not pull the browser audio in. So that's okay. We have ways of coercing it. Let me do one quick thing on here, this other computer, because usually it's just a matter of coercing it as well. It needs to recognize. Yeah, at the moment, it's not. You have to have audio playing. So how about we just put on a song for a second, and then once you do. Money. Hearing that?
Hey, I hear that.
Money. How loud is it?
It's loud.
Like super loud?
Louder than you. Yeah. No, that's good. That's better.
Okay. Okay, so you think it's hearable?
Yeah.
Okay. If let me know. If during the show, if you're not hearing things, if you need to give me the visual thumbs up, thumbs down, or whatever, and I could do stuff. But as long as you're hearing it, I'm hearing it. So
yeah, sounding good.
I think we have the makings of a show. So why don't we go ahead and turn off this banner? Go away, banner.
I think I'll take part 2 tonight. Intro.
Okay. All right. And I'll hit that start show button. It always turns that banner back on. We'll fix that at some point. Now I'll hit that button. We should be getting a countdown.
I see it.
I'm seeing it too. All right. Oh, switch over to this view for a second because we need to add ourselves to the stage and these other views as well.
Chuck's in the chat.
What did I do?
Oh, it went to 0.
Government IT workers by day, persuasion enthusiasts, and verbal cage fighters the rest of the time.
If you'd like to level up your persuasion game to godlike levels, Grab your favorite stimulant and prepare yourself for the Persuasion hit of the day. It's the Persuasion Club podcast, and
And
it
it
starts
starts
now.
now. Look at that guy climbing the stack, the persuasion stack, man. I want to be that guy.
What a climb.
You want to climb. Hey, Steven, how are you tonight, man?
Doing good, Kevin. Thanks for asking. It's been a wild week. Parts of it fun, parts of it less fun, but it's been a crazy week. How about you, Kevin?
As I was saying before the show, isn't it always a crazy week, man? Like, when is it not a crazy week?
Yeah,
That's just
it's
kind of like
more
par
often
for the
than
course
not.
anymore these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you apparently have stories to tell. You sent me a picture. I didn't slide it into the show here, but man, what the heck happened with your shed?
Well, it turns out my neighbor was quoted a little too much money to cut down some trees by a professional. So they decided to take matters into their own hands, cut down their own trees. And one of them, the one big tree, decided to fall into my yard and crush my brand new shed that I was
Brand new
talking about
shed.
building a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you just put it
just,
up. I remember, like you were just talking about
yeah,
it on the show. Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah. I
were talking
spent
about
like
like, yeah,
11 hours with my dad building this shed, and it just got crushed.
yeah.
And so we are dealing with that. It's been fine. They've been very nice. Well, I mean, they should be, but I've been very nice. They've been nice. We're working through their their home insurance. So we're going to work through a claim and get everything taken
Excellent.
care of. So,
Okay, so yeah, I know you and I were kind of talking back and forth over the text about how that might get handled and stuff like that, but it sounds like it's kind
yeah.
of going through more official channels and probably the best for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it would be easy, not easy, but it would be nice just to be able to be like, yeah, why don't you just buy a new one and build it for me? But there's too much liability involved, and I
absolutely, yeah.
need to get it done professionally because I don't want to build another one again. That would be awful.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, it was
Exactly.
terrible.
Like you need to be made whole without having to like start over and do all that work again. And yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
uh,
glad that that's working out. Maybe we'll catch up a little bit more about how all that went down during the after show. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
for sure. Coolness.
How about you? Any top story for the week or the weekend?
Yeah, well, went to the movie in the park again last night and watched Wally. That was fun. I love Wally, and I love all of the Pixar stuff. And then just before the show here, actually, I just slid into the chair like at the last second. Practically went to Celebration of Life for my good friend Matt, and boy. Yeah, it's sad when you see a friend go, and at the same time to hear the stories and the things like that. I will share a little bit about him for sure in the after show because if there's ever a somebody who is a visual storyteller, it was Matt, my friend Matt. So yeah. Well, thanks for asking about that, Stephen. I guess that we'll go ahead and dive into the show and get stuff out of the way. We have, and I saw that now Chuck's comment there. He says, hearing all okay. So I'm hoping that everything's sounding great for everybody. Let's go ahead and switch over here to our. Sure, I got these right. It must be that one, and we'll go ahead
Yes, there we go.
and we'll go ahead and move into some business. And I don't think it's gonna play. Is it? It's gonna not show anything on the screen right now. But if I do that, it will. Is that loud?
No, not too loud. I can
Okay.
hear it.
So this is left over from last week when we did our cat thing. I'll go ahead and fade that down. That's loud to me for some reason. Persuasion Club business. It will be actually pretty easy tonight. We had a lot of stuff to get to with all the cats being International Cat Day last year. Or last week, I should say. And we don't have all that this week. Unfortunately, we did not get any submissions for kitty cats, so we'll go ahead and just give it to the honey badger again.
The good old honey badger.
Honey badger don't care. Really doesn't give a shit. But we do. We'd love to see your cats. And if you would, it would help us out quite a bit. Just go here. Let's show people how to do that. It's persuasion.club/per. I can see that it's getting cut off a little bit on the screen. Let's see if I can make it stop doing that. Does that do anything? Yeah, interesting. You notice how that's taken up a little bit too much of the screen there. Yeah, something was going on.
Yeah, it is getting cut off a bit.
Yeah, we'll fix it later. But I think people get the point. Persuasion.club, or actually persuasion.club/per. Get you there, and it's so easy to submit your cat. Like, it's super easy. But Bookish has had 2 cats featured on our show already. And she'll say, hey, come on, check it out. It's so easy. I wanted to go on to promote our Persuasion Station.
Persuasion Station.
Music.
Yeah.
Persuasion. Radio.
It's getting better.
Persuasion.club.
You don't want to miss it out. We've got new songs being added all the time. Stephen, did you get a chance to check out any of those songs I sent over to you this week?
I saw you sent a couple. I did not. I know I have not checked them out. I need to. I'm assuming they're going to be fantastic.
Oh, don't you know it? So that's the thing. We keep making the Persuasion Station better all the time. So check it out when you get a chance. Radio.persuasion.club. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and just put up our socials. Please like, subscribe, follow. Do it twice if you can. We would love it.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but you got 2 accounts. Follow us twice. It helps us out. It does. If you make some comments or whatever, it does make a difference for us. So please do. And then tonight, let's go ahead and dive into then our topic of the week, which is, of course, Win Bigly. Get your copy today. Go to Amazon.com, or you can even find links to it from Persuasion.club. And we are in part 6 of part 4 tonight. Can you believe it?
Man, that is crazy.
That is crazy. But I'm determined to be done with part 4 today. So one way or the other, come hell or high water, we will be done. I'm going to keep us in this view here because it'll help us out. Trust me, we're going to have some slides along the way to kind of guide our discussion. So, Stephen, where do you think we ought to dive in?
Well, last week we left off on we've talked about scandals. We talked about Pussygate and more.
We had the infamous pussy episode finally,
Yeah,
Say, hey, we have a pussy episode. Go check it out, man.
That takes us to the section about how to win by a haircut.
Haircut, yeah. All right. So looks like you and I are synced. Oh, by the way, I know that this isn't official. We don't do the simultaneous sip, but we do want to at least make a nod to Scott Adams tonight. So take a sip.
Cheers.
Ah, I needed that actually. What are you drinking tonight?
Some Kirkland Black Cherry Hard Seltzer. Nothing too
Hard
crazy.
seltzer. Yeah, no,
Low
that's
on low
light.
on
That's
calories.
lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lightweight. Yeah.
I have those CBD drinks. I like those. This is a blackberry 50 milligram CBD. Doesn't
Nice.
makes very little, difference to me. I don't really notice it. Maybe a little calmer. It's supposed to be
Like
calm down.
lowering any sort of paranoia, giving a
Yeah,
sense of
maybe.
calmness. Yeah,
Yeah,
CBD is
yeah.
good.
Do I seem any calmer to you tonight? Do
I
I?
mean, you always
Yeah.
seem calm, but
Oh,
yeah, maybe it's
thanks, man.
elevated tonight.
Okay, so how to win by a haircut. Let's talk about that. I think the book or the chapter, not the chapter, the part, the part of the part, started off talking a little bit about Scott's theory that maybe Trump could have used that as a form of visual persuasion. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. How do you use a haircut to win an election?
Well, what I what I thought was interesting about it is that I don't remember back then, but I guess that at the time, when Trump first kind of came onto the political scene, is when he was kind of more orange. So
Yeah.
um, I think I have that here. Let me orange
Yeah,
Trump.
a lot of comments about how orange he was.
Yeah. Oh shit! It's not as big as it
It's
should be.
tiny.
It's
Yeah, but you
tiny.
can see the
See if I can.
orangeness.
Let me see if I can get this to the right size. Yeah, there we go. I don't know
Yeah,
what happened there.
look at that.
Oh, yeah, holy shit. So I would say like this is where he got the whole Cheeto thing, right? You know,
Yeah.
um, oops, hang on. Come on, output audio off. I guess that's gonna stay there. But yeah, he's freaking orange there, and so he kind of had a little thing going on, and think about it now. The whole Cheeto thing to this day, so this is 2015, and people were calling him Cheeto then, and I still hear it today. So
Yeah.
when you talk about having like an association, or like people are always talking about the orange man, um,
Yeah.
that sticks. That sticks
Yeah.
with a person.
Yeah, it's very Oompa Loompa like, and at least in color, maybe not size.
Yeah. So Scott actually had this idea that maybe potentially he could use his hair to his advantage, and maybe even make some kind of a big thing about, that if he wins, then he'll shave his head or something like that. I think is how it went. So let's think, what would that look like?
Oh, hey.
you
Now
know
that's a look.
that would be different. Yeah, I mean the bald kind of got a thing going on there. I think it could work for him.
Yeah,
um
if his head is that smooth, I've
yeah.
sometimes I feel my own head. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I would look bald. I feel like my head is pretty. It's not as smooth as I would think it would be.
Yeah, I wish I had that problem. I wonder what my head would feel like if it was bald.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll tell
yeah,
you.
you carry it well. You do well with it.
Thanks. But this, I thought go a little further with this. Like, how would this look if we, hey, give him a beard, man?
Hey, there you go. That's a
That's
good
pretty.
look.
I think this is a good look for him. I like it.
Yeah,
It's distinguished.
yeah.
Now, then I had to wonder. I wondered, like, what would he look like with the beard and hair? Like, what would that be like?
I mean,
I like it better
that's
without the hair.
that's not bad. Yeah, without hair looks pretty good.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You're
That
onto
was a
something there.
thing. Yeah, that was a thing that Scott said that maybe he could do that. He didn't obviously do any of those things.
Yeah.
And then he wound he did wind up. I don't know what he did, but he's less orange now. So he got the right makeup going on or whatever his fake tan thing he was doing, or I don't know, but he's
Yeah.
less orange now. He kind of like bleached his hair, kind of did that bleach blonde kind of thing with it there. So I don't know. Um, that can be a form of visual persuasion that could work, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, for sure. That is interesting. It's interesting to see him without hair. I've never seen a picture mocked up of him with no hair.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think I've seen some of those kind of pictures before, and it's like I think the beard would really help him out a lot. There's just something
Yeah.
about a beard that makes a guy look more distinguished. I think so.
I mean, it is a lot of work to be clean shaven. Um,
It is. I
to
hate it. I
grow
hate
facial
shaving.
hair that quickly, and it's tough to be clean shaven. I haven't spent a single day clean shaven since I was like 20 years old. So, but
Yeah.
because I hated it, I didn't like taking the time to do that. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I go back and forth with it. Of course, the older you get, the more that the beard makes you look older. So then, if you're like, oh, man, I look like 1,000 years old, a little shave can kind of take a few years off. So it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll make you
yeah,
look younger, and for some reason, people maybe it's just an old school thing, but people view clean shaven as more professional. Like I feel like a lot of people used to say, "Oh, I'm going into work. I want to look professional. I need to be clean shaven." There's a whole thing behind being clean shaven that I feel like people either used to believe in or no
yeah.
one believes in that anymore. It seems, but
No, not in the
it used
Pacific
to be a big
Northwest,
thing.
but
Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, maybe New
yeah,
York.
yeah. Yeah. That win by haircut thing was kind of, I think, just um, maybe, I don't know how serious Scott Adams was about that suggestion when he made it, but
Yeah.
it could have worked. It could have, like if he were Trump were trailing and maybe not sure if he was of a win, it might have been enough to push a few people his way. So.
I think my best note from this part of the chapter or from this section of part four, the best note I have, maybe you can help me connect any dots here with this, but this came from the win by a haircut section. But it says goals give you infinite ways to lose and one way to win. And then and I had a comma and it says a system gives you lots of ways to win and far fewer ways to fail. So it was trying to draw the distinction between goals and a system. And I don't know if you had notes on that or if you had any way to connect the dots. But that's the best. I feel like that's the best note. Oh my gosh, you have ways to connect the dots. There it
Oh yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. We'll get it here. You're right. Yeah, systems over goals. It wasn't in the haircut part of it, but I'm sure it's kind of like intermingled with some of your other notes, just like mine are.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and yeah, he was totally talking about. Well, so it kind of goes a little bit to something that we should probably go backwards to, and then we'll come back to systems over goals. But let's see.
Okay.
It's this one here, which is the two ways. I see win is spelled wrong. It should be WIN.
Uh,
Somebody fire the graphics department. It's two ways to win and no way to lose. I kind of put the letters there because when I'm writing it out, I'm not going to spell or write all of that out. So I just do TWTWAN W2. Two ways to win and no way to lose is,
nice.
yeah, that was Scott's kind of precursor to the systems over goals. he was talking about the whole sailors in Iran thing, I think. So that was, I think, something that was happening right before the election, if I'm not mistaken. There was like 12 sailors that had been captured by Iran. And then what did he do? Um, he basically,
Didn't he threaten them that he would like make their life hell if they didn't like comply?
yeah, yeah. It was that, but there was also two pieces to that. And either way, the way that it was presented would have basically been a win. Um, and really no way to lose. Oh, I think it's basically in the public eye. So yeah, I mean, it's all coming back to me now because I was listening to this again earlier today. That he by making this big statement about how he would basically rain down, the the fire, bring hell and the fury of
Yeah.
hell. And so if the Iranians were to release those hostages, he would look like he was the one that caused it, right? Because he said, that that's what he would do. So they're like, oh shit, we better do, release the hostages before he becomes president. Or the flip side to that is that they don't release the hostages, and then it just goes to show that that we need Trump, or that he was going to be, the strong man, and that he should be, everybody should vote for him. So it was one of those framings where, and I think it leads to that high ground maneuver. Well, I don't know how exactly the high ground plays in, but we'll talk about it because it comes up.
Okay.
But in the public eye, either outcome with Iran at that time was good for Trump,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he positioned himself to either look like the one that got them released or that the one that will solve it if they don't get released. So,
Right.
yeah, he put himself in a good unlosable situation there.
Yeah. So that's the two ways to win. There's a few other examples of that whole judge issue that he had. That
Yeah.
was that impartiality kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have many notes on that one. Do you?
We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the scandals, but basically, he was positioning himself to either say, if I lose, it's because this judge is biased and impartial because I'm talking about putting a wall up to block Mexicans from coming into the country illegally, and this judge has Mexican heritage. So, and then he either gets a new judge and finds a judge that will favor him, or if he did lose that legal battle, then he would be able to say, well, I told you I would.
Yeah.
And so technically, no matter what the outcome would be, he would win one way or the other. Even if he lost the court battle, he could still say, look, well, I predicted it and I knew that would happen. So he kind of positioned himself that way, from what I
Yes.
understand.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right from my listen to it. He did the same thing with healthcare. I think coming into office, he basically allowed the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, to come in first and start introducing healthcare legislation. And in doing so, it was if Ryan's introduction as legislation were to take off and do well, he could just tack on to that victory. Trump could, and claim that was part of his strategy and his thing. But then if it didn't, then he could say, we're going to have to work on this some more. Apparently, um, there's more to hear, but it wouldn't have had the impact on him as much as it would have on Ryan. So Ryan was kind of taking the hit for that, I guess, at that time. It's the way that I take it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like and this I don't think was part of the chapter at all, but I feel like everybody that's been hired by Trump has been fired by Trump. I think
Yeah,
he has a way of hiring people to do a job, and then whether they do it or not, the way he wants it or not, he fires them and replaces them. And I feel like that's happened with almost every single person that's worked for him. I don't know how many people are still like OGs or working, or original people that were hired, but yeah,
yeah. I
he
know
has
there's
a
a
way
lot
of
of people.
replacing people. Yeah,
He's definitely got into that habit on his show. He was firing everybody on that show, so he
they're
was very good
fired.
at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and he's addicted to that. Yeah.
um, so that was the two ways to win, no way to lose. The opposite of that would be the one way to win and the many ways to fail, I think. So that's where he talks about the idea of doing the systems over goals, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and the way that I remember him talking about that was he was talking about, say, somebody wants to go to college. Um, so they might say that they want to get a 4-year degree. And so they go, that would be the goal. So,
Yeah.
or whatever that is. But, let's just say that it's a degree in something or whatever. Whereas a system would be more like, I'm going to take engineering classes. And while I figure out maybe what that final outcome is going to be, because you can just do that, gain that kind of experience, and even if you don't necessarily go for that in your final career or something, you're never going to not, like having an engineering background is always going to be a good thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Does that describe that well? The systems over goals thing. I don't know if it does, but that was his example from the
Yeah,
book.
I feel like yeah, goals are so specific, and you can be broad with them, but I feel like when people encourage you to set goals, they encourage you to set very specific goals, like I want to end the year at 200 pounds, or I want to, be able to lift or bench press, because a lot of goals come from like fitness and health, yes, education, maybe even your career. But like if I'm like, well, I want to be CEO in 5 years, and then 5 years pass, and I'm, like a still like an administrative assistant, you've failed. Like you failed your whole. But if you have a system in place where you're like, well, I want to be showing improvement, and I want to be gathering skills and building my stack, my talent stack, so to speak, you can do that, and it doesn't have to be anything specific. It's more of a system built around like that circle that you had with like consistency and having things built in to be able to do that, not just I want this one thing, and if I don't get that one thing, then I've failed. It you can get close, but you won't succeed. So yeah, it's which is funny because I feel like growing up, a lot of everything was set goals, have
Yeah,
goals for yourself, and
yeah,
it was never like, hey, set up a system for yourself, and so that you can always be improving and work towards maybe a goal, but don't like live and die on a goal.
right.
Maybe have some goals, but more focus on setting up a system for yourself, so that that way you have more chances to show success rather than just one way to show success. Like if I don't go to Harvard, which you can't control, I mean maybe you can pay your way in, but you can't control if you get accepted by a specific college. So maybe set up a system for yourself like, I want to be a 4.0 student. Well, maybe that's even too specific as well. But like, I want to be a good student that shows that am studious, and I can show that I'm learning what I'm the class from the classes I'm taking. And then you just set up a system that and you'll be successful. So I think there's like very much two boats that you could be in, and some people really ride or die on goals, goals, goals.
Hmm.
But and maybe you can have both at the same time, because it should be systems over goals, not the other way
Instead of
around.
instead of, yeah. Or instead of the other way around. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I think what I take away from that is that the it's not that you don't want to have goals. It's that you want to have systems that are basically on top of those goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A goal can help you set up a system to get there, but that system will help you go beyond that goal, and not just because sometimes if you reach a goal, then you don't know what to do next. And all you've done is focus on achieving a goal. You didn't set up any sort of habit or uh, hobby or any sort of system to help you go beyond the goal, because maybe that goal was a little bit low, but if you ever achieve it, then all of a sudden now you have no more direction, and you have to like struggle for a while, maybe get depressed, and then find a way to set more goals for yourself. But even to figure out what that would be can take a long time.
Yeah.
uh, so
I guess one way you can look at the difference between systems versus goals is that if the goal isn't satisfied, say you don't reach the goal, you might still keep the system, because the system
yeah,
still might be benefiting you. So you don't ditch the system necessarily just because you didn't reach the goal. So
goals can be really unrealistic. And you don't know because you're setting it for yourself, or maybe someone else sets it for you, like your parents tell you what your goal should be, instead of
yeah,
helping you set up a system. Like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but you never learn how to save money or invest. Well, that you're just going to fail.
yeah,
You need to set up a system of like, okay, every month I should be putting aside this much money, which means I need to make a certain amount of money, which means I need to do all these other things in order to be successful to get to be a millionaire. I can't just say, I want to be a millionaire, and then not
yeah.
have any way of doing that. You're just going to fail.
Yes, I
So,
want to author myself $1 million.
yeah, yeah,
It doesn't work.
yeah.
It's
Well, you better become
Akira the
president,
Don.
and then you could. Yeah,
Actually, that was Scott in that Akira the Don song. He's like, maybe some people can author themselves $1 million, but I don't know if I can. And so, we were talking about the two ways to win thing, and I realize now that we almost glossed over a persuasion tip. There's quite a few in this last bit of the book, actually, or of the part. Do you remember what persuasion tip 24 is?
Oh, that is literally the one I don't have.
Yeah.
No, I
Oh,
don't know what 24 is.
you don't have to remember.
Oh,
It's
hey, there
right
you
here.
go. Look at
So
that.
yeah, the two ways to win, no way to lose, is a persuasion tip. It says if you can frame your preferred strategy as two ways to win and no way to lose, almost no one will disagree with your suggested path because it is a natural high ground maneuver. I knew the high ground was going to come in. Yep.
Nice.
Two ways to win, no way to lose. Yeah. Let's see. So after that, yep, we got into the systems over goals. Let's go on then. What's page 2 of my notes? Say we've got how to use the high ground maneuver.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about how to use it. Well, Do you have anything that you want to throw in before I speak?
Well, I have a solid note for this section, but it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with using the high ground maneuver. So
Okay.
I'll save it for the right time.
What I thought was interesting is that he talked a little bit about Steve Jobs and the whole debacle with the iPhone 4.
Yeah,
Um, and I didn't even realize that that had happened. Somehow I missed that or forgot it or something. But for folks that may not be familiar with it, the iPhone 4, when it came out, it wound up having this issue that if you held it a certain way, then you would lose reception and the calls would drop. And so it was a pretty big publicity blunder, for Apple. And the way that Jobs responded to that, I thought was really pretty interesting. He basically wound up saying something like this. He says basically that we're not perfect, and phones aren't perfect. We want to make the users happy, and it's like, okay, well, that didn't really answer anything, and it didn't take blame or responsibility. But it was totally like, well, phones aren't perfect, and when you think about it, who has ever had a perfect smartphone? Is anybody? you know,
no, it doesn't
no.
exist.
No, it doesn't exist even now, so everybody can pretty much relate to that. Okay.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
I was just
I know.
agreeing with you. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. And so, as Scott wrote, he says, nothing kills humor because they're all making fun of the iPhone. Nothing kills humor like a light or like a general boring truth. So
yes,
as soon as Jobs kind of reframe that as like, oh, all smartphones have problems, and they're not perfect. It just really took the power away from it. So
yeah.
yeah,
That's the note I had. Nothing kills humor like a general and boring truth.
nice.
And,
Yeah, I'm
uh,
glad we both got that one.
because like yeah, if you ever when listening to him, it's like, well, yeah, like that's true, and like that just uh made like the problem kind of seem like uh yeah, like
Insignificant, yeah, in a
more
way.
yeah, less of a big deal, and like sure it sucks, but like they're going to reformat, they're going to go back to the drawing board and come back with a better solution. They're owning that like it's not perfect, but we do want to make people happy and we're going to keep trying, rather than just being like you're right, we're defeated, just trample us and forget about us. He went back and uh
Yeah,
like
he just
kind of made it boring, and like because you can look around and be like, well, yeah, Samsung's phones kind of suck and Google's phones kind of suck. And I don't know if Google was making phones at the time, but they had Android, and it was like, yeah, like these things kind of suck. So
yeah.
uh yeah.
I Scott referred to Jobs as a magnificent bastard on that one, and wondered aloud if Jobs had maybe studied hypnosis at some time.
Really?
And yeah, and later on, apparently, Scott found out that the blog post that he had written about Jobs and the way that he um, used that line for the iPhone 4, that blog post got forwarded to other Apple employees at that time, meaning essentially that he wasn't saying no. That, in other words, that probably he did know a little bit about hypnosis. So,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hey, that's I mean, hypnosis takes a lot of confidence, and I feel like one thing I do consistently hear about Steve Jobs was that he was a very confident person. Whether he was sure about being right or not, he
Yeah.
always acted like he was.
Yeah. It's kind of he was considered by Scott to be a master persuader, which is a level higher than the commercial grade that Scott considered himself. So um,
Yeah.
there was a hypothetical that Scott talked about, another high ground. I don't think this actually happened, but he was talking about how the BP oil spill that happened years ago,
Yeah.
and how they could have framed that, you know, and it's tough, it's pretty tough to frame your way out of a big environmental disaster like that. Um,
Yeah.
but he kind of came up with this idea of like saying, well, this is essentially a risk that happens in a world where high demand requires that we use all means or ways of drilling for oil that are available to us, and la 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 la, we'll get it cleaned up and we'll fix it up, so they didn't have to do that. That's not what they did, but they could have framed it in such a way as to say that this big disaster is just one of the risks that, you know the bigger a company you are and the more you're drilling, eventually this kind of thing happens. I don't know what
Yeah.
to say. La la la, it happens.
That's yeah, hey, we'll just
Yeah,
pollute, a
it was just
portion
our
of the
time. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, that is
um,
really difficult to take the high ground on when you've
yeah.
spilled
Um,
oil.
Actually, since we've got this slide up here, and because there are people that will listen later and not have the visuals, maybe it would be good to just talk a little bit about the 1, 2, 3 that's up there. Um,
Yeah.
for for folks that aren't seeing this, we've got the whole Anakin, Obi-Wan thing going on. Obi-Wan's got the high ground. He's got his lightsaber there, and essentially, it says here, take the high ground, move your position to a higher level above the battle of opinions. So this is whole how the whole high ground maneuver works. So you take the argument up to a level where you can say something that is true while changing the context at the same time. So somebody would say blah 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 blah, and then you'd come back and you would be basically saying something true but that also shifts the argument. And then what winds up happening is that then the other person looks like a shit for going back and talking about those little details. Is that an accurate description from the way
I
you
mean,
understand it?
yeah, I feel like it's difficult if you are a terrible person with terrible desires and you're trying to do something really bad and negative. It helps if you have the I feel like part of persuasion and even part of hypnosis is uh, I feel like having the best intentions and wanting the best outcome for those that are part of this deal or part of what's going on. I feel like that kind of puts you in a place to take the high ground. I feel like if you're just a terrible person with terrible ideas and you're gonna it's really hard to take the high ground. So there is yeah there uh it, and then it also is kind of a fight over who's being more petty or not. Like, let's focus on the big thing at hand and not all these tiny little details that don't really matter when you're trying to like get your position on an argument. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot at play, but I what you said makes sense within context. But I
Yeah,
understand. I think the context. So uh,
yeah.
yeah, it
It,
makes
it
sense.
I, I'm gaining interest in this the more that I read about it and the more that I talk about it. I've heard about these things a lot. Scott would always talk about the high ground maneuver during any of his podcasts, and I was always interested in kind of what it was. It says here, or at least he said in the book, he says that once you use it, the other participants will fear appearing small minded if they were to drag the argument back to the detail level.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's just a way
that's
to just
good.
kind of like, you just shifted it into a totally different realm, you know?
Yeah, you want to make the other person look like a the lesser minded person in a way of being like, hey, I'm up here, I'm more mature, and I'm looking at this from a big picture perspective. You're just kind of talking about these little details don't matter, and you're kind of either complaining or this or that, but you look smaller minded, and
Yeah,
you're trying to put yourself in a dominant, upper handed position.
I totally want to get good at this trick.
Yeah,
This is even better than the Jedi mind trick, man. Well, maybe
yeah,
not, but but the high
yeah.
ground, yeah. Definitely one to practice on. And one of these days, when we actually start doing persuasion duels again, I think that like dueling in a way that helps us to hone the skill would be really cool. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I don't know those persuasion battles, man. They really put you on the spot, but they were good for us.
Yeah, yeah, they were fun.
Yeah,
We'll get back to them.
for sure. Let's see what else do we have here. High ground maneuver. Yeah.
The part
Anything else?
part were you going from 1, 2, and 3, like part 2 to stand for something everyone values or uh
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't have anything to say about it, but if you wanted to, you could.
oh, I think it just it has a little bit to do with what I was saying of like stand for something that everyone values and you have like the examples and the visual for fairness, safety, freedom, children, common sense. These principles are hard to argue against and that's true. It those are things that everybody can agree that like yeah, we should strive for that. We should fight for that. And if you can turn an argument around uh, by focusing on something that everyone can value and get behind,
Yeah,
you'll get people on your side. And even if someone else claims victory over the argument, it's more of what do the people that heard the argument think, not just what does
yeah.
the other side of the table think that happens. So
I like that there are examples, and I like the children example because that's it's easy to say. Well, what about the children?
a lot of people have said that.
you
Yeah,
you piece of shit. How could you not do something for the children?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, and then number three was opponent must then argue against that good principle. So if you bring up what about the children, or what about fairness, what about safety? Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Then that causes the opponent to have to basically start using their tired, detailed arguments, and basically it brings them down. So.
Yeah.
All right. I think we'll call that good for the high ground for tonight. And then the rest of part four actually is called grab bag.
Grab
You
bag.
grab bag. Let's talk about it. So these are the things that I guess didn't land in any particular place in the book, but that were things that Trump was apparently good at. Um, did you have any on your list, or you want me to go, or how do we want to do this one?
It's been working well with you starting, and I'll add flavor.
You can add flavor. All right, you
This is
can
also
add
the
the
section where
seasoning.
I feel like every other thing he said in this section, there was another persuasion tip. I think there's like 5 or 6
Yeah,
just in this little section. So
yeah, he totally did. There's so get ready, folks. I think we've got persuasion tips 25 through 30. I think almost. Yeah. Okay. So number one was social proof. We learned about that with Cialdini. So one of the things that Trump would say a lot is that many people are saying that word. Okay, so many people are saying when you make a claim like that, many people are saying, then it makes people feel like this is a group. There's I don't know if you would say tribalism at all, but you can, social proof, I think, is actually the best word for it, is that because it makes it seem like a lot of people are agreeing or are in that group. So,
yeah,
yeah. Whether that was an exaggeration or not doesn't really even matter, because all it takes is for some people to say that thing. And in your mind, it'd be like, okay, well, he said many people are saying it, and this person is saying it. So that would
yeah,
almost be like your confirmation bias. All right. You want me to
yeah.
do
I
number
don't have
two?
much to add to that.
That's quite all right. I've got us covered. You want me to do number two? Just keep reading these.
Yeah, yeah. Keep going.
Okay. Well, this is where we're going to get our next persuasion tip. So the next thing is ask directly for what you want. So one thing that Trump used a lot and would say is, believe me. Believe me when I say, or believe me, and
Yeah,
so it's moving beyond saying something and then hoping somebody will believe you. He's actually asking you to believe him.
yeah, yeah.
And so, and it doesn't seem like much because it's just a couple words. Believe me, believe me.
It's
But
almost a command. Yeah,
yeah, it kind of is. And especially like if it's repeated, could have that potential. So let's do this. Persuasion tip 25 is direct requests are persuasive.
yeah. If you are selling, persuasion tip number 25, I had written down: if you are selling, ask your customer to buy. That's what I
And
had written down.
that's the hardest part for me. I'm not good at asking for the sale. I'm just horrible
Yeah,
at it. Yeah. I hate asking
yeah.
people for things.
Exactly. But there's some. It was either this earlier in this book or in Influence by Cialdini, where it's basically just like you have nothing to lose by asking a question. The answer could simply be no, or you'll get what you're asking for. So
Right.
either, but if you don't ask, the automatic answer is no because you won't get anything. So
Yeah.
by asking, you only really, I mean, yes, there could be some embarrassment. Like if you're asking for money, that can be something that's off-putting to people. But if you're obviously a salesperson and you have you're selling something, asking your customer to buy is almost expected. So it's like, uh, don't hesitate to ask because it's almost expected. So
Yeah, that's true. You go into a store, people are, or any kind of a business or something like that.
yeah,
People probably expect it at least at some point.
yeah. If I go into like a car dealership to look at cars, someone's going to ask me if I want to buy like maybe multiple of these cars. They're going to ask, do you want
Yeah.
this one? Do you want to test drive it? And then if you test drive it, then they'll be like, what'd you think? You want to buy it? You want to sign papers? Where's the
Yeah.
money coming from?
Let me
You
go
know?
back to my manager and see what kind of deal I can work out for you, man.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start paperwork and we'll figure out the details later. You want to do
Yeah.
that?
Speaking of that friend, I went to a celebration of life today. He used to talk about like he would go to a car dealership, and one of the first things they would ask him is, "How much can you afford?" And he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, man. It's how much am I going to spend?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They ask you how much
That's
can
why
you
I will
afford.
get a loan. Yeah, I'm gonna get more than I can spend or more than I can afford. Yeah,
Yeah, and then of course because the question how much can you afford is how much can you make a monthly payment on, which is a totally
yeah,
different question than how much is this car, so
yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going back here then to our screen, yeah, you have to be willing to make the ask. So that's something for me. I would definitely have to work on because I'm not good at that. All right, and then um, the next one is repetition.
Yes.
So yeah,
Repetition is persuasion.
and just in case you didn't know, repetition is persuasion.
And in case you didn't hear Kevin, repetition is persuasion.
Uh, I'm glad that you picked up on that one too. I had it
Yeah.
underlined three
Yeah.
times, so we just pulled
Yeah.
it off.
He said it 3 times in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, that was classic Scott Adams. He's like, and
Yeah.
did I mention that repetition is persuasion?
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and put that one up here. That's actually a persuasion tip, then number 26. So your reputation acts as a filter. Oh, that's weird. Repetition is supposed to be the word, not reputation. So it made a slide based on reputation. That's weird. So yeah, ignore this slide, everybody. This slide is bullshit. But you can understand what we're trying to
Slight
say.
typo.
Yeah. I was in such a hurry to get the show put together this week. I knew something like this would happen. So,
Okay.
but so yes, persuasion tip 26. Repetition is persuasion, and that's if you hear any good persuader, they will say the same thing over and over again. And with Trump, the thing that he would say is, "It's true. It's true."
Yeah.
I never noticed that, but now that when it was mentioned in the book, it's like, yeah, well, that's totally how he talks. You know, he'll just say, "It's true," and it's kind of like the other one that we were talking about with the "Believe Me." It's it just kind of yeah, you hear it over and over again, and it just kind of drills it in. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yep. And then we have the next thing. I don't think this one had a persuasion tip, but it was simplicity. So I guess a lot of people gave Trump shit because when he would talk, especially during the campaign, he would talk at a level that a lot of people noted was probably even below the level of a sixth. Can I say that word? Sixth grader. Which is kind of funny because did you ever see that Jeff Foxworthy show? Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And
Yeah,
it was tough. It was a tough.
yeah,
The questions were challenging. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not an easy game to get it unless you really know your shit. These
yeah,
sixth graders are kick ass, or fifth graders, what I should say. But yeah, simplicity actually is a persuasion technique. And maybe a lot of people just did not even realize that because he was playing to the lowest, well, I wouldn't say the lowest, but a lower common denominator. You know, it was
yeah,
the language of the people. People could relate, you know.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's.
um,
I mean, and you think about like I I I don't see it very often, or at least I don't notice it, but there is a it may not be super, super high, but there is a shocking amount of illiteracy out there.
It's
Whether
terrible.
it's usually higher depending on the country you're talking about, or maybe even the area of the country you're talking about. But there are some staggering statistics about illiteracy, people that don't know how to read or even write, but they can speak and understand when you're talking. But but they can't like read what you're writing down, or really yeah, illiteracy. I feel like everybody understands what that is, but it's just like it's shocking that there's as much of it as there is,
In
because
our own country, even, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, I guess
it's,
I've been really fortunate that I haven't run into that much personally, but
mhm.
it's out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's and you're right. It is somewhat geographic. It kind of depends on where you are and stuff. But yeah, there's people that are graduating with very, either not able to fully read or just only can partially read and such. It's horrible,
Wild.
Yeah. But okay. And the other part about simplicity too was that so there was the part about being relatable, but there's also a bit of what's known as pacing and leading involved with that. So if you've never heard anybody mention that before, I think we probably have on the show. I think it came up when we did our confidence maxing discussion with Jeff, even that whole idea that you want to try to match the not just the tone or the pacing of your words with the person that you're talking to, but even the body language, can definitely have an effect. So if you can match body language and tone, and so if somebody's talking a little higher, then you might bring your voice a little higher. If
Yeah.
somebody's talking a little lower, bring it a little lower. It's like, and that's not easy to do because it really requires, that you're paying attention to what that other person is doing. So, but
Yeah.
it works. It's a way actually to for a person to feel more comfortable with you. So, yeah, there's that. Um,
That leads into persuasion tip 27. Is that your next
yeah,
slide?
this one's yours, man. Go for it.
This talks about match the speaking style of your audience. Once they see you as one of their own, you can lead them. And so I like the slide that you have up here. Match their speaking style. Um, Once you connect with them, once you sound like them, which is what you were talking about just a second ago, you match their vocabulary, tone, pace, and level of formality to the audience, and you can it- you can put yourself in a position where you can lead them once they can identify with you, or once you've identified with them
Yeah.
and matched them. If you're coming in and speaking old English to a group of young kids that have never heard old English before, they're just going to ignore you. But if you can speak in memes, and if you can speak like young kids talk these days, either well, there is some backlash that can happen if you try too hard. But if it's
Yeah.
natural, and you have to be able to make it as natural as possible. it, you can't be so obvious that people are like, I don't like you because you are so obviously trying to talk to us like us. So you have to also in there be as natural. You have to, it may take
Mhm.
practice, but
Yeah.
it has to come across natural. It can't be too forced, but it is a way of getting into a position where you can lead people if you can match them.
Um, Something that I was thinking about when listening to this part of the book is I was for a moment, just for a split second, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, well, in a way, when Kamala Harris, I don't know if you remember when she was running, but when she would go from city
Yeah.
to city and give a speech, she would kind of take on the dialect of the town or the people that she was in. So if she was, down in the South, she'd start talking black. If she was, in other parts of the, like New York, then she would start talking like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
AOC actually has done this too, just very recently. And so I was like, okay, so maybe this is their way of using this persuasion tip. But the problem with it that I see is that people will know it's fake because then
Yeah.
they're going to listen and they're going to go, well, wait a minute, they sounded like us, now, but now I'm watching this other thing and now they sound like something completely different. So I think you have to
Yeah.
watch out, make sure that you're not, don't be fake, is I guess is what I
Yeah.
yeah.
I could be way off on this, but I believe it borders on what we call code switching, or there's a basically you're trying to switch back and forth between the way that you speak, and uh, it it becomes very obvious that that's what you're doing,
Uh-huh.
and that can be really off-putting to people, and even offensive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there is definitely a balance you have to bring to it, where you're not changing your entire self, but you're matching people, and maybe it's not with the accent you're using, but just in the, like you were talking about earlier, like simplicity of how Trump speaks sometimes. His voice is always the same. His tone is always pretty much the same, but the simplicity of maybe the words he's using uh, it will change based on his audience. I'm sure when he's talking to members of the cabinet or his administration, maybe he uses bigger, loftier words that are more legal and
It could be, yeah.
lawyer sounding. But if he's talking to a group of people in a small city in a rural, area, maybe he's
It
more
brings it to a
simplistic
level that's
because
yeah.
people aren't going to vibe with big lawyers speak in a smaller town. So uh, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily switching uh, your accent or trying, in that way of trying to match
Mhm.
how someone's talking, but more of uh, like you need to understand what they're going to vibe with, and the kinds of words to use to get to them. And if you're using huge words that sound like you studied a thesaurus the night before, you know
Yeah.
it's not going to work very well for you.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think that that's a skill, that, people need to develop, and that it's something that probably doesn't come very natural, and so because like I know
Yeah.
that I've tried doing it before, but I'm just like it's so easy to just get involved into the conversation that you forget about what it is that you're like you're I'm going to try to pace and lead here, and
Yeah.
and actually
Yeah.
thinking about it, how you're speaking and talking while you're doing it. It's like it's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
And if you notice that it maybe if you flip it and you're the one that someone is pacing and trying to lead you, if they do it right, it can be comforting and you can be like, "Fine, like I'll enjoy this ride. Like no
Yeah.
problem." You don't always have to be the one taking leadership and owning it, but if someone else is going to, uh, if they do it right and you recognize it, you can still be okay with it.
Yeah.
It- so it's just it's a matter of skill, practice. We talked about or you mentioned confidence maxing. The book, it talks about repetition, and even just
Yep.
tip 26 earlier, repetition is persuasion. So get your reps in, because
Very good. Yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I'll even speak to a little bit to that later on, perhaps in the after show of a little repetitious thing that I've been doing here as part of the Scott Adams School. Okay,
okay,
so the next thing, and we're getting close to wrapping up, folks. So we'll try to bring this part of the book home, is simplicity. So that's the next one, I think.
Yeah, and
Persuasion tip
I
28.
honestly I don't have persuasion tip 28 anywhere. Mine went right to 29. So,
Okay.
but 29 dealt with simplicity as well. So
Okay. Well, I'll cover 28 as best I can here, real quick.
cool.
So, persuasion tip 28 is that simpler explanations are more persuasive. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you've ever heard somebody that will take a long time trying to describe or explain something, and the more that they talk, like me right now, the, the the longer that you drone on, then the persuasion starts to go. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Occam's razor, as Scott referred to it, which is basically usually the simpler explanation is usually the correct one. Kind of dictates in this case in a very similar way that when you're making or giving an explanation, simpler is better. So
Yeah.
people don't resist ideas, but they do resist confusion. The clearer and more specific your explanation is, the easier it is to understand, and the harder it is to argue with. And then lastly, recommendation basically to just cut the jargon. Jargon. This
Yeah.
is the right way to say that. Um, all the fluff and stuff like that that you might actually be tempted to use when you're making a point. Take it out. The simpler is kind of the gold standard here. So um,
Yeah.
and yeah, make it so simple that somebody can repeat it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
okay, so that was persuasion tip 28. I'll go ahead and take us up to 29 and let you take that one if you'd like.
Yeah. So along with that simplicity helps your ideas be more persuasive, it also makes your ideas easy to remember, which you also said. But that is persuasion tip 29 is simplicity makes your ideas easy to remember. And if you're going to get someone to uh, agree with you and be on your side and persuade them that what you're saying is the right thing to do or whatever, right way to think, simplicity, making it easy to remember. Here on the slide, if people don't remember you or your message, you don't have influence. And man, I coming from the world of working in the private industry, you get into these meetings where there's people. I mean, even public service, honestly, people will say and they'll speak in circles and they repeat
Tell me
themselves,
about it.
and you're quickly like, You already said this," but they'll say it in as many different ways as they can think to say it because they think that that will reach the most people. When in
Yeah.
reality, it's more about have a simple message and repeat it. Don't uh, say it a different way every time you say it because then people just start to hate you and want to
They
get out of
do
there.
get
Like I
confused. Yeah.
yeah,
I thought you
yeah,
said this. Oh.
yeah, because words, uh, people interpret things a little bit differently than you might think they are. You can say a word that you think means one thing, and 50 people will think it means 50 different things. So pick a message, stick to it, make it simple, and repeat it. And that's when you're going to have people remember who you are. They'll remember your message. It'll be more persuasive. It'll stand out because everyone else just kept saying as way too many words. And excuse me. The last point on the slide that we're looking at says emotions and stories beat facts every time, which emotions and stories can have facts in them, but that is true where you speak to people's emotional side and and you use stories that people can remember and relate and repeat back to others. That is going to be more persuasive and more memorable every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, one thing that Scott thought that Trump was somehow just some kind of a human quote machine because he could just crank them out. And and so I would say that that's something I would strive for myself is like, can I just be that quick-witted and be, able to come up with things on the spot that are memorable, sticky, repeatable, all that kind of stuff. That's a skill set for some, and that's a natural way for others. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Even making something rhyme, if you can make your idea have words that rhyme together, that's not in here, but that could be something like, uh,
yeah.
cut the shit, tell them to quit. Kind of like, okay, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
can repeat that, and that'll stick in my brain. Uh, you can. There's a lot of ways to make your message simple,
Yeah.
concise, and memorable. That's where you'll find the most success.
It reminds me of a little bit of a story that I'll just go briefly on, something that I plan to include in my book, which I'm going to be talking about later on. That when the little town of Cresswell that I live in here in Oregon, back in 2017, we had a marijuana grower slash dispensary that wanted to set up in Cresswell, but the way that they wanted to do it was that they were going to become the kings of Cresswell, because there was a moratorium on it, and so they were going to introduce some basically what you would call some resolution or a legislation or whatever that would allow them to come in and sell marijuana in Cresswell, and they were bad news for the town. I have no problem with marijuana, but these guys, oh, bad news. And so we started basically a coalition against them. And one of my buddies kept every time somebody would make a comment on social media or any way that he could possibly slip in here, he would say no to One Grow, because that was the name of the company, One Grow. Say no to One Grow. And so that was repeatable. And he would say it over and over and over, turned it into a bumper sticker, wound up becoming a pretty big theme within the campaign, and the signage and stuff like that. We defeated that measure by 85%, by the way, which was
Oh, wow.
unheard of. Yeah, I don't think any measure in the state of Oregon had ever gone down so hard as that one. That as far as the history books go. So, and like half the town had previously expressed interest in lifting the moratorium. So it wasn't that the town didn't want it, but we were able to show that this company was just bad news for our city. In a way that was easy to see. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's something that I'm going to share a little bit more when in the book. But anyway, we have
Great.
one more piece to go with. Oh, I had one other thing about the memorable thing. It says here, you can only be persuasive if you are also memorable. So
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
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 And then do you have the persuasion tip 30 by chance?
No, I don't. Not off the top of my head.
All right. I'll put that one up here.
This is the final one, right?
This is the final one. Yeah. So I'm going to switch back to this view. Ta-da! Strategic ambiguity. So persuasion tip number 30 basically says that sometimes you want to leave a little wiggle room. You don't want to say too much. So sometimes it's actually good to leave a little bit of ambiguity in some things that you're saying. Let people fill in the gaps on their own. So you don't want to necessarily always volunteer all the details. Sometimes it's good to hold some things back. Vagueness actually creates curiosity. And actually, he kind of gives you a little bit of control. Um, it keeps your options open, while it keeps your opponents guessing. So there is something to be said about it. Say enough, basically, to be credible, but then leave room for people to imagine. So that's
Nice.
persuasion tip 30. Sometimes ambiguity is actually a good thing. So,
Yeah.
and one other thing I think I had in here on my actual notes was that this plays into confirmation bias because people will see whatever it is that they want to see. So if you are using strategic ambiguity, you're just kind of tickling, people, just giving them enough so that they can then form their own opinions and kind of see what it is that they want to see using their own bias. So,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and all right. You look at us becoming persuasion masters, man. Isn't that cool?
That's crazy. Yeah,
It
we're
is.
almost there. No,
Yeah, almost there. Yeah, a couple more
almost
weeks,
there.
we'll be done.
Yeah, probably 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, that takes us. This was a long show, and I knew we would not get to the game this time around, and we might even have a short after show depending on how Steven's time is. But that is it for tonight. As far as all that
Woohoo.
goes, yeah, we've made it through part
Wow.
four. Six shows to cover
We
part four.
covered
Isn't that crazy?
so much. Yeah, that is crazy. It was a very packed part 4. Yeah, that
Very
was
much
wild.
so. Yeah.
Nice work though. That's good.
Yeah, for both of us. And we've got part 5 coming up, and that closes out the book. But we are actually going to take a little detour next week. I know that we've talked about this a little bit in this episode. We've definitely talked about it a little bit in some of our other episodes. But we you can't talk about persuasion and not talk about hypnosis, right?
Yeah.
It's come up several times, and we've long thought that we needed to start delving in a little bit into hypnosis. The problem is that we know nothing about hypnosis, and we would not be basically doing it any justice if we were to try to do it ourselves. And so we've also long thought that one guest that we would like to have on the show is none other than Doc Hypnosis himself. If you've
Yeah.
been around the Scott Adams universe for any length of time, you'll know that Doc Hypnosis is the guy. There's a few other hypnosis kind of people, but I think Doc is the guy. So we're going to be hanging out with him. He's going to be on the show. Here we are. This is what we're doing next week. We're going to bring him on, and I don't know if he ever goes on screen. I was watching some of his podcasts, and I think he does not go on screen. But so, does he look
Okay.
like this? I don't know. So
It's probably close enough.
probably close. Yeah, doesn't
Very
matter.
studly. Yes.
Yeah, he looks
Stud
cool,
man.
doesn't he? Yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely looks cool. So,
Yeah.
so that's next week, folks, and then after that, we'll come back and finish up part 5. Probably do a few episodes on that before we wrap up Win Bigly, and then we'll have to decide what we're doing next. So,
I know there's so many good books that we are uncovering through our journey. So, I mean, I know we were talking about a little bit about it this week about what book is next. Not to expose that we don't have that solidified yet, but
yeah,
but it's because there's so many good ones, and I don't think we can go wrong. I think no
no,
matter what, we'll cover them all eventually because we'll just keep going episode by episode and we keep
yeah,
covering books. So, in my opinion, I'm just excited to cover them all. And the order to me, we'll talk about more, but it is less important than just continuing to grow and learn and go through these books that we're identifying. So,
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'm with you. There's so many books, and I want to get to them all, and that's why we're probably going to be doing 1,000 episodes. We'll
Yeah,
just keep on doing
minimum,
this.
minimum.
You know, a
Yeah.
thousand episodes would pretty much take us to like 10 years or something like that. I think,
Huh? That's yeah,
or is
I
that?
can see that happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. When I did episode numbering for our show, I made sure to go 4 digits so that we could actually go to the thousands. So if you ever notice, I label our episode 0030 because
Nice.
we could get to a
Foreshadowing.
thousand. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, yeah. It's
All right.
good.
So we're gonna go ahead and end the show here. The music will play, and then we'll fade out, and then we'll start our after show. I don't know how long we'll be doing that, but you're welcome to join. Until then, we'll see you in the Funny Papers next Sunday night.
See you later. Thanks for being here.
Good night.
Time to grab another refreshment drink. Refill complete.
All right, we are done with this show. Can you? That was a great episode. I think I like that.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. I like the persuasion tips because they give you something to like cling on to rather than like a story or an example. It's like there's actual things to hold on to, little tidbits to take away. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and put that info on screen here. I think,
Oh,
yeah. Now the screen feels like too big. It's got, yeah, about like that. Maybe? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just like the marquee banner was looking huge. So, here, I think we can play a animated version of this. I think.
I'm being circled by a persuader.
Which one?
This one I haven't submitted yet. I need to. His name is Tank.
Tank.
He is a tabby cat, so he's a kind of a what you would call like a standard issue cat, where he looks like a what you think a cat would look like.
Okay. So like you look
Like,
up cat in the dictionary and this is what you see.
yeah, you know,
You're in it. And it's like, yeah, I like it.
come on up. He's picky sometimes with if he'll jump up on my lap or not, but and then when I reach for him, he'll run away, which again, typical cat behavior. But uh no, and right now I should take pictures of our outdoor cats. They're not ours, but there are 4 different cats right now that are constantly going through our backyard and coming up to our back door, but they're not very easy to interact with. So I'm
That
surrounded
sounds
by
like
so many cats, man.
my rescue, which I've had for 2 years now. He's been warming up, but it's still taking him a long time. And now he's just finally gotten to the point where he won't run away when I go pet him. It's
Nice.
2 years. 2 years it took him to get there. Yeah.
That's a long
So,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Which makes me wonder, like what was your life like before you got here, buddy? Because he just did not, human contact at all. Yeah, but
Cats get treated really poorly, and we've tried to rescue some cats like baby kittens, like way too young to be outside that have come up to our back door, and we've actually successfully taken in 2 baby kittens that showed up out of nowhere at our back door for multiple days. We've taken them in at different times, got them, everything for the vet taken care of, got them fixed, and then adopted them out. So we've done
Oh,
that
nice.
twice in the past 2 years. Um,
It's cool of you to
and
do that. Yeah.
it's yeah, we, like, have such a soft heart for cats, but, uh, we tried to contact humane societies, we tried to contact different, like, nonprofits that deal with cats. Nobody will take them. Nobody would help us, and
Really?
everything fell to us, and we tried
Wow.
everywhere, from Portland down, through Salem and even a little bit south, and nobody would help us. Nobody wanted to take them and adopt them out. So we basically had to find there's websites that you can work with that allow people to post and adopt out their own cats and things, but people basically will just if you can't take care of a cat or you don't want to, they just dump them. They'll just throw
Yeah.
them outside. They'll take them
That's,
to
yeah.
a random place that's far away, and they'll just throw them out of the car. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm
it's
not laughing at that. What I'm laughing at is that I have a buddy who lives, or he used to live in the country, and he got more cats that way than Yeah, people
it's so
dump cats
sad,
off all the time. Yeah,
but, like, what it's like these places are so overloaded with the amount of cats and other animals they have. They
yeah,
just they can't accept new ones, and you can't force them to take them. So it's like, well, in my head,
yeah,
I'm like, well, this is your job. Like, you're the Humane Society, or you're a nonprofit that deals exclusively with cats, and they just all are always saying they're way too overloaded. They
yeah,
don't have space for new cats. It's like every time we contact you, you have no
yeah.
extra.
Like,
So people just, yeah,
where do you
literally
get your
will
cats from then? Because
yeah, yeah. People just abandon them, and then no one will help them, and so they either die because, well, you took an indoor cat and you just threw it outside, it doesn't know how to fend for itself, it's just gonna get destroyed by a raccoon or something,
yeah,
um, or step into the wrong backyard and a dog will, destroy the cat. It's
yeah,
just like it's sad, man. So we have a soft heart for cats, and I know that there's places that are helping, but they never can help those that contact them. I don't know how they're getting so many cats, but
yeah.
apparently they're always overloaded. So it's sad.
My cat Cooper came from one of those rescues, and when we went to look at him, he was like in a room, and we're talking about a room about this size, 12 by 10, I think, or something like that, with 25 other cats, I want to say. Um,
Oh man.
yeah, in the room. There's like shit all over the place, and
Oh
then
man.
just and he was just in this little cubby all curled up and everything like that, and I think the other cats were probably bullying him or beating him up or something like that, so yeah, and those people are doing the best they can. It's all they got, and they probably are just like, us, like, I can't let them die, so it's either,
Yeah.
put them in this room with 25 other cats, or they die, so yeah.
Yeah, I do you know and sorry, we're going way off topic. I'll ask you this when I come
That's
back to work
fine.
someday,
This
but
after show is
uh
there's no real limits.
because it has nothing to do with persuasion, but persuaders. Um, but this is my last question though. But are humane societies funded by the state or the city that they're in, or are they
They're
somehow
individual
funded other?
organizations, I believe, because I know that in Eugene there was the Green Hill Humane Society, which was a separate nonprofit organization from the city's. Um, they didn't adopt cats or have cats, but they had dogs, I think. So,
Okay.
But yeah, so they're kind of, I think, separate organizations and such.
Okay.
But they work together with animal control and such. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But for most cities, in their budgets and stuff like that, animal control is such a, you know, it'll always be one of the things that is underfunded, and
Yeah.
you know, more need than there is money. It'll always be, unfortunately. So
It's too bad.
yeah, it is totally. So hey, before we forget, I wanted to tell a couple of stories about my friend. I
Yeah.
mentioned that I was going to do that, and then maybe even mention a couple of other things. But talk about your visual persuasion. Have you ever met somebody that was just such a good storyteller, that if they told a story, they could paint that picture so well that you just felt like you were there, and the story would be so funny that you would go and you could tell somebody else about that. You weren't even there. You could tell somebody else's story because they were that good with their visual. That would be Matt in a nutshell. Well, anyway, Matt was one of my roommates when I was a young man. We rented a house one time in Springfield, and two other buddies, and then Matt. And anyway, Matt was just always known for building fires in the fireplace. He could always get a good fire going, and so and I was a big video guy. I always had a video camera going, and so I come into the living room with my camera on, and there's Matt. He's building a fire in the fireplace, and he's like, "Hey, big guy, come over here." He called me big guy. Yeah, he always had a name for everybody, you know. So it was, that, or sometimes he called me Grimace. I don't know. It's just like, I think one time I had like a purple shirt, and then, you know, big purple Grimace. So you just say, "Hey, Grimace."
Nice.
So that was one of my nicknames. But anyway, he says, you know, so I've got the camera running, and he says, "Hey, come on over here. I'm going to show you how to build a fire," you know. He says, "I'm building a fire here, and I'm using T111 plywood." I don't know if anybody's ever heard of T111 plywood, but it's, you know,
Siding?
common.
Like house siding? Yeah.
Yeah, house siding. Yeah, it's basically. So he's like, "It's T111." He says, "It's fastest burning stuff on earth." He says, "They outlawed it 5 years ago." And he's just like building this whole story. He says, "Now watch me." He says, "I'm going to light the fire," you know. And so he takes a match, lights it, and throws it into the fireplace, and boom! I mean, the windows shattered. I'm not. It didn't shatter. They shook. They should have probably shattered, but it just boom. And if you go back and watch the video frame by frame, like you see the match as it's being, you know, making its way to the fireplace, and the next thing you see is just bright orange.
Oh my gosh.
You know, it's like not even just like explosion, you know, frame by frame, you know, like that. It's just boom. Well, what you don't know is that before I got there to film him, he had poured lacquer thinner all over this fire.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what he would do. Like anytime he was building like a, you know, to do a barbecue or something like that, he'd just like take anything that he knew was flammable, just throw that shit on everywhere, you know.
Man.
So yeah, that's what happened. It's like, and like there's a pot holder that was like on the hearth of the fireplace, and like it caught fire, and he's like, "Oh shit," you know, he's like rolling it around, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that video because I have it somewhere, but that was one of the funniest things. We would always call him Pyro.
Yeah.
He would tell these stories. One time he just thought it would be a super idea to strap a pair of roller skates onto a log, set it on fire, and then roll it down a hill.
What?
Yeah. And he would tell the story about how this, you know, all of a sudden there's this log just, you know, flying down the
This guy
street.
sounds crazy.
He was crazy. Yeah, totally crazy. So yeah, Matt was a good guy, but his visual persuasion was just spot on. He would tell a story and have you busting a gut. You'd be laughing, and you weren't even there, or you didn't even know the people, and you would be just, So that's how good it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Those people are rare too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've met people like that, but very few and very far between.
They're the kind of people that just instantly make a room, brighter or more, at least have a conversation more interesting,
Yeah. Yeah. Give you something to chill and listen to at least, or maybe not chill. Maybe you have to be
Yeah.
on your toes.
Oh man, here's a story for you. So there was one time that he's like, I have a boat, we'll get our families together, we'll all go out on the lake, and he says, and then I've got an inner tube. We'll just drag the inner tube and I'll drag you around the lake. Hey, that sounds fun, I'll do that. So I'm on this inner tube and he's dragging me, but then he starts going a little too fast, and I'm like barely able to hang on to the thing because he's just going a little too fast. So I'm yelling, "Stop! Stop!" Well, he didn't hear that. He thought I was telling him to go faster. So he's like,
No way.
"Stop!" And he's going, "Oh, he's an animal,"
Wow.
Oh man, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. We laugh about it now because I'm not dead, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I feel like people, hit boat stuff is can be really, really dangerous.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I know I had a life jacket on, but I don't know that gave me any confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like I was, I still feel like I was gonna die. So
Yeah, for sure. That's
yeah.
frightening.
Hey, real quick, because I thought I would mention it, but on the Scott Adams School this week, I want to say it was Thursday, maybe it was Friday, but I think it was Thursday. They got into the topic of affirmations, and so I don't know if you've ever done anything like that before, where and so. They were talking about it, but then they played a Scott Adams video where he talked about affirmations, and he said that he had done an experiment in his life, basically to try to see if the affirmation would work. And so he said, "Well, I'll have to pick something that just normally wouldn't happen. That was nearly an impossibility or something like that, And so what he picked is that there was somebody, I think, that he was in his college class or was going to the same college or something like that. And he considered this person to be way out of his league, and that it would be pretty much just damn near impossible to even get a date with her. So that was his affirmation. Essentially was that I think something along the lines of I Scott Adams will date this girl or go out to dinner with this girl or something like that. And so end of the story is that he actually did. And so, yeah, right. And so then the question becomes, did he really just like speak something into existence? Did he really just create his own reality by doing that? And so then he went on to say that he doesn't have any like really concrete proof or anything like that. The only thing that he knows is that anything that he's ever done that with, where he did the affirmations, they all came to pass. they happen, So the thought is like, okay, well, you don't have anything to lose, right? By doing it. So what the hell, So they put out a
Yeah.
30-day challenge, and basically it's super simple. It's like you just figure out the thing that you want to do, and then 15 minutes a day. You just write out, essentially, I, in this case, Kevin, will do a certain thing, and then you write that 15 times, and it takes about 15 minutes if you write it out, you know, and then you do that every day, and I think it's a 30-day challenge or something like that. So, what the hell, I'll go ahead and do it. So I'm on day 3 of that. I still actually have to do mine for today. I did it yesterday. I did it the day before. Hang on a second to see if I can find out where I put that. I don't know where, but I've been posting them on our X channel, so you can check them out. But yeah. So we'll see. My particular affirmation is that I will write a best-selling book within a year.
Hey, whoa, nice. Okay.
Yeah, right. You haven't heard me talk about the book for a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. We've mentioned it, talked about it,
Yeah,
or it's come up in conversation. But
yeah.
um,
So
that's
originally,
awesome.
I was going to do a book, and that's kind of probably the news for you, because nobody else really even knew that I was going to write a book. I don't think, but the idea was that it was going to be a Scott Adams book about Scott Adams, and my title was already picked out as Scott Adams, the Professor of Persuasion, and then the subtitle would be, or otherwise, how Scott Adams saved the universe. I think is what I
Yeah,
had. So,
yeah.
or something along that line. But I've come to a decision here within the last couple of weeks that I don't think that I could do that book justice, if that makes any sense. I've been hearing a lot about the official biography that's coming out
Oh,
for
okay.
Scott Adams. There, Joshua. Well, actually, that would be Joel Pollack's book, but in conjunction with Joshua Lysek. And it sounds awesome. I've been hearing some things about it, and it just sounds fabulous, And I just got to thinking about it, and it's like, what really could I bring to the table that is going to be that much more interesting, than this book that they are doing. So anyway, I just kind of didn't think that was the proper book to do anymore. So doing something different. So
All right.
yeah,
But it's going
but
to
it
be
is
the
really,
bestseller
it's going to be the
in a
bestseller.
year.
Yeah, totally persuasion related, totally Persuasion Club themed in that regard. It's going to be mostly personal experiences and stuff like that. You'll be in there too, Stephen.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, totally. But yeah, I think
That's really cool.
well, and then because I had even talked to, and I think it suggested maybe we co-write a book, but I just don't know how that would work. Um, I
That
really
could be
don't.
really tough. Yeah.
Well, it could be, because we'd be like switching off, and one would be in your voice, and then some would be in my voice, and back and forth, and it'd be maybe kind of confusing or something like that. So, the way I look at it is that you being a new dad and everything like that, I don't know if you have a whole heck of a lot of time to write a book.
Yeah.
Whereas I might have a little bit of time, maybe.
No, I
Not a
think
lot.
that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, I'd be happy to contribute if ever it was possible. But I do agree. Like, I feel like single author books are usually better. I don't know if, I mean, I guess the Bible, the Holy Bible, is written by a bunch of different authors.
True that.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
Maybe.
and that's a bestseller.
It
But
is. Yeah. I have a signed
that's
copy.
a little bit different because there's a religion built around it. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's great. It sounds great. I think that's exciting,
Yeah.
and I feel like attaching another person to your goal or um your affirmation, it would also be really difficult because you can't control that other person. So that would be really difficult. So it makes
Yeah.
sense to go about it as a single author.
Yeah. Yeah, you might wind up being the one that writes the preface or something, something.
Yeah,
You're definitely
sure.
going to have a part
Yeah,
in there because it's going to be the story, or part of the book is the story of us, of creating Persuasion Club. But it's much
yeah,
more than that. So, and it'll include some parts about the affirmations, even. And I've been kind of teasing on our X account too that I'm going to explain a little bit why I think that affirmations can be dangerous if you're not careful about which ones you choose. So um, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
I don't know if
Okay,
Scott ever talked about that, but that's where I'm headed.
cool. Hey, exploring new grounds,
Yeah, yeah.
writing your own story.
Yeah, yeah. That was the other thing is that I didn't want to do Scott Adams all over again because that's Scott. That's his thing, you know. So I think I want to write something that will like there's always that self doubt is like, well, why would anybody want to read about me? You know, I'm just some boring guy. But well, I'll tell you, I've started to, and you probably got to go, so I'll make it brief
Soon here, yeah. It's I can't
soon.
believe it's almost 8.
Yeah, we've been at this for 2 hours. We're on there. Yeah, okay. So I've been writing out book topics and some things that I think that people might be interested in. Do you remember me telling you about the leg lengthening miracle?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's a story. That's a story I got to
Nice,
share.
nice.
um,
Yeah,
that whole thing that I was talking about earlier about the um, marijuana initiative in Cresswell. I think,
yeah,
yeah, and basically just all my political career and experience on doing political stuff. I think would be a very interesting story.
yeah,
Um, um, there's the whole idea of sharing about all the different jobs that I've had, um, because some of those are pretty interesting. Like just like all my career working at gas stations and how somehow all of the gas stations that I worked at, except for one, have been torn down now.
wow.
Yeah. Religion. You and I've talked a lot about religion. Besides that leg lengthening thing, there's a lot to share. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Real quick. Um, and I told you the story about the magic oil barrel, right? Now I've told Dennis that story.
It's not ringing a bell. Maybe you have, and I don't remember. But
Yeah. So I don't want to give away like every good story that would be in the book, but was kind of an interesting story. I had a hustle for a while, a job that where I worked at an oil shop, not an oil shop, a tire shop. So like I totally I got way in shape in that job because you're just like totally, you know, taking wheels and tires and taking them off cars and putting. It was just busy work, and doing oil changes. So I was really good at that. And so anyway, when I was in that job, you know how like people have different types of oil that they want to put in their car. Somebody wants 30 weight, somebody wants 10W40, somebody wants 2050. There's like all
yeah,
these different weights of oils and stuff like that. It's like, well, tire shop didn't have room for keeping all that stuff, so there's one barrel, whatever it is that you wanted. You want 2050? That's what that is.
that's what that is.
Yeah. You want
Okay.
10W40? It's what it is.
That's funny.
Yeah, I call it the magic oil barrel. So
Oh man.
that was kind of a good story. So I feel like now that I'm starting to write it out and stuff like that, that like I have a lot of really cool stories that are I could put a persuasion angle on. So I'm starting to feel a book coming together already as I started to think about it. So
That's great. And that'll help with doing it within a year. I feel like if usually like if you're creating a story, not one that you've lived, but you're trying to like build a world and build a story kind of out of thin air in a way, that can take years and years. So using real stories, real experience, and tailoring it to either persuasion or a specific message that you want to build it towards, I feel like that'll help definitely expedite the completion of a book like that. So that
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Well, and it's going to be good for us. It's going to be good for Persuasion Club and getting more people interested in. I don't know if you haven't been checking out probably as much, but our social media, our X account, we're exploding. We're doing really well.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
every time I do look, it's like, whoa, 13,000 interactions or, different things. It's like
yeah.
there's been a lot happening.
I've I,
So,
I've been learning some tricks, which is great. But the real thing the best thing that happened for us was that there was it's 8 o'clock. So yeah, we probably had to wrap it up. But the algorithm got changed here recently to help smaller accounts actually get more views. And it's helped a lot. So
nice.
I hope that sticks. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then once I noticed and saw, well, I read about it, and even Elon posted about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, algorithm updates. You should be." And it's like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm noticing that." So then it's like, "Oh, I got to take advantage of this." So doing a
Cool.
lot more
Yeah.
engaging posts on X right now. So check those out
Great.
if you get a chance. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So you're coming back to
That's
work
exciting stuff, man.
in a week and a half,
1
something
week.
like that. Wow.
Once we talk to Doc Hypnosis, I'll be terrified that the next day I come back to work. So next Sunday will be a good and a bad day. So
You've seen Office Space, right?
yeah.
Do you remember when, like, the scene he goes to the hypnotist to see, and he says, like, "Is there any way you could just kind of zone me out, kind of make me not
Yeah.
feel like I'm at work?"
Yeah.
Like maybe think I'm
You just
fishing or something like that.
Yeah, it totally changes everything. He goes in and undoes the walls and just kicks them down, and
Yeah,
all of a
pretty
sudden
much.
the guys that are trying to fire everybody are like, I like this guy. We should be talking to him. Yeah.
He's total management material, yeah. So maybe we could get Doc Hypnosis to help us with that, man. Yeah, just
Yeah.
song us out, man. Make us totally happy with work. Probably doesn't
Yeah.
work that
That would be hard. I want
way.
that, which is a part of being hypnotized. You want it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Somehow I think our future is Persuasion Club is going to explode, and we're going to have to go out and become motivational speakers or something like that.
Bring it on. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
Author yourself, man. That's
Yeah.
the way you do it.
Good one. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Do we want to go ahead and say our goodbyes and then play some music and end the show?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to get
Okay.
out of here, but
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right. Well, good night, everybody, and good night to you, Stephen. I'm looking forward to. I know you don't want to come back to work, but I'm looking forward to it.
It will be nice to have a little structure coming back to work. So I am looking forward to it and being able to meet up again and hang out in person. That'll be fun.
I'll do everything I can to make your return to work as good as I can. So,
Thanks, man.
yeah.
That's
All
great.
right. Good
All right,
night.
Kevin.
Catch y'all
Have a good
later.
weekend. See
Bye.
ya. Bye.
I like coffee. And all you need for that is a cup, a mug, or a glass, a tankard, chalice, or stein, a canteen jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee.
I like coffee.
Then prepare yourself for the unparalleled pleasure. The dopamine hit of the day. The thing that makes everything better. I like coffee.
A cup, a mug, or a glass.
A tankard, chalice, or stein.
A canteen jug or flask.
A vessel of any kind. I like coffee.
Coffee, alright!
Sweet liquid courage in a porcelain throne. You turn every morning into a place I call home. From the first little sip to the last drop I see, you're the sweetest persuasion that's ever found me. Long live the bean, let its legend endure. Coffee, my darling, my one daily cure.
A mug or a glass.
Oh, a tankard, chalice, or stein.
A canteen jug or flask.
Or flask, a vessel of any kind. I like coffee.